Good morning. Is it morning there? It's actually not morning here. I don't know why, but like when I close my eyes and when I imagine you there in the future, it's morning. So, good morning. I don't really have a plan for this, which is going to be abundantly clear in about 30 seconds, but I have a will. And where there's a will, there's a way. I have had intuitive nudges to start this podcast for. It's funny to even say start this podcast. Like, what is this? But I've had intuitive nudges to start talking into a mic for about a decade. And it just keeps getting closer and closer and closer until it got to a point where it was like, okay, just fucking do it. You have a microphone. Just do it. What's holding you back? And I would like to thank my 5 loyal subscribers. And, it's funny because, like, there's nothing to even to subscribe to yet, but I told myself I would not do this unless I had a few people who were going to listen. And shout out to those few people. Z, Josh, Rita, Kara, Yolande, Nell. There's more, and I'm sorry. I can't just sit here and name everybody, but thank you for the people who encouraged me to do this. This is a thought experiment. This is play. We're gonna see where this goes. We're in this together. Hold my hand. We've got this. We've got this. So I just would like to start off by saying this is the most informal chat podcast video ever. Let me give you the setup. You can probably already hear the setup, right? I have a mic that is probably I got for like $100 on Amazon. I have a MacBook Air that is very old. Oh, I mean, what is time? But it's on its last legs. I've got GarageBand, the free edition, pulled up on my computer. And then those beautiful sounds that I'm sure you can hear, that you're marinating in right now in your headphones, wherever you are. I've got very close by a dishwasher running. You can hear that hum? Listen, that's the dishwasher. Clean dishes are coming. I've got 2 windows open, and there's birds chirping on the outside. And probably a bunch of other feedback and sounds that are happening. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Things don't have to be perfect all the time. Like, we add so many, like, barriers to entry to things that we never end up doing anything. Because I was sitting here and I was like, yeah, I have a lot to say. I have a lot that I want to say. I have a lot that I'm called to say. And I have people regularly telling me I should do this. But these tiny little things are holding me back. Like, oh, I don't want to edit it. Or, oh, I don't have the right equipment, or I don't want to do the research to figure out the right equipment. So what if I just cut through all of that fat and just said, let's just record it? I mean, even if I just had my phone, I'm sending people 12-minute voice notes on a daily basis. Might as well make that a fucking podcast. This is not PG, by the way. There will be some... Actually, who knows? I don't know. I have no plan. Like I said, I'm just vibing. But, surf the waves with me. We'll get there. But yeah, now that I've set up the visual, I'll give you a little more of a visual. You can close your eyes if you like. This is an immersive experience. I'm sitting at my desk that desperately needs cleaned off. It was actually a Herculean effort. That was part of the barrier, just to get my laptop set up and the mic set up. I better not be clipping right now. Okay, full disclosure, I paused the podcast there because it looked like my mic was clipping, and this is what I mean. I'm not about to record a whole thing and then not be able to use it, and I do not want to edit this. So, thank you for your patience. This is we're learning together. We're growing together. This is a collaborative experience. I'm really going to take you there. Like I said, this is like the Rainforest Cafe. This is like Disney World. This is like Universal Studios. We're doing this together. This is an immersive experience. Some more sounds have actually also joined. I heard some thunder when I was paused, so there might be some more thunder. And, oh, did you hear that? I don't know if the mic picked up on it or not, but there will also be... that thunder sounds good. There will also be sirens and other things because I live in the city, and that's just part of it. But like I said, the whole thing. I haven't really introduced any ideas yet, but I think that the broad topic of this podcast is going to be non-duality. And non-duality, oof, what a hard thing to capture in words. Because non-duality is kind of the idea of the all that is. And how do you capture infinity, eternity, all that is in limited language? Impossible. Fundamentally impossible. But anyway, let me attempt. So, I guess the basic idea of non-duality is that everything is one. And I promise I have a point to this. Actually, one thing about me is I love to tie everything in a bow. I just love that. It's really satisfying. I will go off topic, but I always bring it back. That's something that a lot of my friends mention about me. Like, I'll go on a long tangent and I'll somehow loop it back to the first point. And they're like, we got there. We got there. We didn't know where you were going. We lost you in the first half, but you brought it back. So yeah, I really love to tie everything in a bow. Actually, to the point where I've used that as an expression, because there's been times where I have to leave a conversation in like the middle of a sentiment. And it just physically hurts me to do that. I love to tie things back together. And so me and my best friend Emily have started saying, no bow. Like, there's just no bow right now. Whether it be a topic like that is difficult to find the glass half full, the genocides of the world or whatever, there's no bow there. Or whether it just be a moment where it's like, we don't have time to finish our conversation. There's no bow. I'm hoping, though, if you trust me, there will be a bow here. So stay with me. But anyway, non-duality. So non-duality is this totally ineffable idea that everything is interconnected. And not even that everything is interconnected, but that everything is one. That separation in and of itself is an illusion. And that the observed and the observer are one. The beloved and the lover are one. And this is something that's very trippy. If you've done mushrooms, you've probably experienced this. If you've done ayahuasca, you've probably experienced this. Even dissociative drugs like weed. And you might have experienced this soberly too. I mean, I think when we are very present, that's when the edges of things start to blur a little bit. But the reason that I brought up non-duality is because, I could edit out the dishwasher. Well, actually, I don't know if I could. I actually have no idea how to fucking do that. But like hypothetically, I could edit out the dishwasher sound, and I could edit out the birds outside and the sirens and the thunder. But this podcast isn't Lauren O'Brien in a microphone. This podcast is the whole frame. It's me speaking into a microphone. It's all the sound. Do you hear the downpour? I'm not sure. I haven't paused it, so I can't tell if the mic is picking up on that or not. But there's a beautiful downpour happening right now, and it's honestly heavenly. It's like those YouTube videos with the ambient noise that you listen to. But anyway, what was I saying? Come on, Lauren, you've got this. You got this. There's a bow in you somewhere. Yeah, the podcast is not just Lauren in a microphone. It's also you on the other end listening. It's all the sounds here, and it's all the sounds in your frame. It's all the images that are coming to your mind right now. It's all the things that you can experience with your five senses and beyond those five senses. So in a way, it's kind of beautiful to not edit any of that out, because this is a pure expression, a pure, authentic expression. It's a unique expression of consciousness. And who am I to say what parts of it have value and what parts of it don't? There's those moments where I awkwardly pause and I think, what should I say next? Or those moments where my ego starts to act up and say, have you been rambling about, how dirty your desk is for too many seconds? Do people care? Or, the lip smacking sounds, all these things that we edit out in podcasts, that we edit out for the social media feeds. But who am I to say what parts of this recording have value to you as the listener? And that's something that's like really magical to me, because when we focus our time less on overly editing ourselves or putting this perfect version of ourselves out into the world, what we are actually doing when we don't do those things is we're fostering this authenticity and this like greater alignment, for lack of a better word. Because it's kind of like those cheesy expressions you hear on like Pinterest. They're not cheesy. I'm adding that story to them. But that whole like, if be yourself because everyone else is taken. Or actually I heard that Hillary Duff was talking about that in an interview. And if you know anything about me, I'm a big Hillary Duff stan. That's my girl. But recently in an interview, she was talking about that. And that just felt so like something you'd see your mom post on Facebook. But I'm at a point in my life where I'm starting to get those posts in like an earnest way, like in an unironic way. Like I actually recently said that I feel like I've full circle looped around to where I understand live, laugh, love on a visceral, like earnest, unironic, loving space. Actually, about a month ago, all of my mugs in my dishwasher were dirty, and they were being cleaned, which is funny because call back to the dishwasher that's going right now. And I really wanted a cup of coffee, so I searched my my pantry for any old coffee mug that I didn't know was there, and I found this old coffee mug that I don't know, must have been gifted to me, or maybe I got it from Goodwill, and it was the font was so cheesy. It was like really bad cursive script, like with like loop-de-loos, and it said like live like your life depends on it, love like with all your heart. Like it said all these like cheesy expressions that very much gave live, laugh, love. But I looked at this mug and, because of it, I had a full cup of coffee, and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm drinking the coffee and I'm smelling the smells of the coffee, and like I'm listening to the sounds, and I'm really being present with my experience with the coffee. And I just felt really emotional because I'm reading it and I'm like, yeah, live, love with all your heart, like celebrate. Like I'm reading all these things like from a really earnest place, not from this like edgelord place of like, I'm too cool for this, I'm nonchalant, but from this place of like, this isn't just lip service. Like, this is really beautiful if you let it be beautiful. If you view it through the lens of love and not through the lens of ego or fear or too cool for school attitudes, Anyway, God, I don't know where I was going with that one. I'm going to be honest. I straight up just let those words flow out of my mouth. I think what I was getting at is you never know when the thing that you say is going to be the thing that somebody needs to hear. Or the moment that you leave in your unedited podcast is going to be the synchronicity or the sign that somebody is looking for. I've learned that lesson a lot in my life recently. About 4 or 5 months ago, I joined a meditation community that I became a very active member of, and I'll probably talk a lot about in future episodes. That feels fun to say. I did air quotes when I said that. You can't see that, but you can imagine it. Yeah, so when I'm doing future episodes, I'll probably mention these meditation classes on like ad nauseum. But I joined a meditation group, and basically like the setup of the group is we do an hour or so of meditation, and then we have a 10 or 15 minute talk, and then we do an hour or so of meditation, and then we have a 10 or 15 minute talk. And in the beginning of my journey there, I was still kind of monitoring the things that I was saying. Will this resonate with other people? Is this a weird thing to say? Do people care about this kind of thing? And I got to a point where I stopped monitoring myself. I stopped filtering myself. And part of that was because I had so many experiences where people would come up to me and they would say, wow, you said the exact thing that I needed to hear. Actually, one of my friends, Brennan, he came up to me and he was like, I've been wanting to tell you, about a month and a half ago, you said something in this group that resonated with me so deeply. And I went home and I remember all weekend I thought about it. And I was driving in the car and I was thinking about it, and it just really hit me. And it had a profound impact on me. And I just wanted to let you know that. And I remember thinking, I don't know what the fuck I was saying, because I was just rambling, like I just was being Lauren. And I had that big of an impact on somebody. And then I've also had so many experiences in that group where I've heard somebody say, I don't know if I should say this. I don't know if I should say this. Or maybe that's weird. Or maybe that doesn't make any sense. And then they proceed to say like the most profound, eloquent, like dynamic, out of this world thing I've ever heard. And I'm like writing it in my notes app. So it's kind of clicked for me that like, A, say the thing. Because who knows who's listening and needs to hear that. But almost B, sometimes the things that we feel embarrassed to say or overthink are the things that need said most. And I'll get into this. This is a whole topic in and of itself. But religion, right? Spirituality is the big topic. And it's a topic that I want to talk about thoroughly and with the gravity that it deserves and the nuance that it deserves. But the absolute TLDR condensed version is I spent most of my life an atheist, very anti-organized religion. I had a spiritual awakening or spiritual remembering. Neither of those terms really resonate with me, which led me on the most chaotic, beautiful journey of my life for the last couple of years. And what I'm getting at is I'm going to use the word God in a second. And that was the lead up to it. Replace this word with whatever fits for you, because I know God can be a heavy word for some. Source, infinite intelligence, awareness, consciousness, all that is, whatever you want to put in there. I feel like God just kind of sums it up. But I used to have a lot of resistance around that word. Anyway, lots of context for just a simple statement. But what I was getting at is I feel like the moments that we're called to say something or we're called to do something and we hold back, I think that is God. I think that is our higher selves, whatever you want to say, Holy Spirit. It's a part of us. It's an aspect of us, an important aspect of us. Our intuition, an important and valuable aspect of us that knows better than we do. An important aspect of us that can see the bird's eye view, can see the God's eye view, and knows this thing needs to be said right now. Say it. This thing needs to be done right now. Do it. The inspired action, if you've ever heard that term. And that's to put a bow on it, to bring it back, that's what this podcast is. It's inspired action. It's stream of consciousness. It's something I felt called to do, and here I am doing it. And maybe I'll never make another episode. Maybe I'll listen to this and I'll realize I clipped on the mic 150 times and that the sound quality is repulsive. Maybe just those 5 friends that I mentioned in the beginning will listen to it, but there's a reason that I need to record it. And I don't need to know the why. I just need to follow that nudge. Because I'm starting to realize that not only was that nudge so delicately placed in me, by an aspect of me, for lack of a better term, I am the nudge. I am the nudge. And it goes back to what is valuable about this podcast and what is not valuable, and being the judge of that. And I'm at a place in my life where I'm doing a lot less judging and evaluating and planning and editing. We'll use editing as an umbrella term because I literally mean editing in the sense of this podcast. And a lot more allowing, accepting, being, flowing. Because nothing needs to be fixed. Nothing is broken. I'm even sitting here thinking about the moments that I've paused to think. Or I've put the dreaded, like, any white girl has been made fun of for that at some point in their life. It feels like misogyny to me, to be honest. And it's, the Valley girls of the world who got raked over the coals for that in the 90s. And we reclaim that. I'm reclaiming that. I mean, I think that Valley girls are cool as hell. This is like tangential. The whole podcast is tangential, but I don't know if you all have ever listened to Riot Grrrl, which was a feminist punk movement in the early 90s, started in mostly the Pacific Northwest, like Seattle, or Washington State, Greater, and Oregon, by people like Kathleen Hanna of Bikini Kill. Very much a big part of my story and my journey. Very much love Riot Grrrl. And I remember listening to Riot Grrrl and like female-fronted punk at a young age in like 8th grade and thinking, this is fucking cool as hell. Because here are these women who are saying and like and oh my god, and are embracing traditional femininity like hot pink and lip gloss and doodling in your journal. And they're doing it in this way that is like, it's taking up space. It's not shrinking. And for me, like, so much of womanhood was about shrinking myself, was about saying less, doing less, being less. And in some odd way, I do feel like that Riot Grrrl conversation fits into this subject of Zen Buddhism and non-duality and meditation and mindfulness, because it's not about editing things and fixing things and shrinking ourselves. It's about fully embracing all the parts of ourselves as whole and complete and perfect expressions of the one, of source, of God, of universe. And just allowing that expression to be the perfect expression of God. Allowing each moment to be perfect as it is, and not something that needs to be controlled or fixed. Anyway, yeah, the Riot Grrrl movement had a really big impact on me in those ways, because a lot of my life, I've always been a lot. Actually, side note, if you haven't seen Lena Dunham's new show, Too Much, it came out in the summer. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. But Too Much was something I've been told my whole life. And a lot of that comes from these societal ideas of womanhood, right? So it was like, well, I'm too loud. And anybody who knows me, like, I am loud. I'm too talkative. Not too talkative for a podcast, though, where I don't have any guests. I'm too opinionated. I'm too stubborn. I'm too tall. Side note, models are tall too, so I was just talking about that with some friends the other day, that when I was in middle school, I was taller than all the boys, and I had a lot of shame around that. And anytime somebody used to make fun of me for my height, I would say, well, models are tall too. And I remember that was when America's Next Top Model was really big, and at the time, I was the minimum height requirement for America's Next Top Model, which I think at the time was 5'7.5", although they did have a petite season later on, which is, it's cool, it's inclusive, I like that. But I used to say that. I'm like, well, watch me be on America's Next Top Model winning with Tyra, and then you'll feel bad. But anyway, models are tall too. But yeah, it's like, you're too talkative, you're too loud, you're too opinionated, you're too tall, and I've had a curvier body at different points in my life. I've been the full spectrum of weight. So, okay, you're too fat. I've always had a really big chest, so it's like, oh, your boobs are too big. Like, you're too sexual. Women aren't supposed to be this open about being sexual. Like, you're too this, you're too that. You're too intellectual. Like, you're talking too much in a class. Like, you're taking up too much space. And for me, I never knew how not to take up space. And it felt like I was shoving the infinite into this tiny little box. But every time I overflowed out of that box, I spilled out of it like my like my giant tits in a bra that was not well fitted from Victoria's Secret. Do not go there if you're a teenager with big boobs. Every time I spilled over, I offended people. Even the parts of me that were like viewed as positive. You're too empathetic, Lauren. Don't be a martyr. You're too passionate. Like, it's too much. You care too much. You're too earnest. You're too this. It felt exactly like my non-dual ideas of like, okay, this is a limited human experience. I'm everything. I'm the infinite having a limited experience. And this limited experience, this POV of the Lauren lens, is a bright light. And I've been dimming that light for the sake of like fitting in with everyone else. And as a callback to that Hillary Duff quote, that Pinterest mom quote of be yourself because everyone else is taken. If we're all unique expressions of consciousness, if we're all unique expressions of God, however you want to frame it, why would I want to be like everybody else? And to go back to the like, who knows what's resonating? If I'm trying to be everybody else, how am I going to find my tribe? How am I going to find the people that I'm supposed to find and be with? How am I going to, if I was meant to say a certain thing to a certain person at a certain time, how am I going to fulfill that role in somebody else's life if I'm not playing the role? If I'm trying to be, if you have a movie, the main character doesn't try to be like the side characters to fit in, then you have no plot. That's not an interesting film. Anyway, the Riot Girl movement, female-fronted punk, different things like that made me realize, no, it's cool to be a lot. It's powerful. It's sexy. It's exciting. And I shouldn't limit myself. And I don't remember how that part of this conversation started, and I'd have to pause to go back to figure it out, but ultimately, if it's not coming up right now, it's probably not super important. But I'm doing a lot less of editing myself, is I guess what I'm getting at. Because everything is perfect. Nothing needs to be edited, nothing needs to be fixed. This podcast, I don't know how long it is. Is it 30 minutes? Is it 40 minutes? I don't even know what time it is. Whatever time it ends up being, that is the perfect amount of time. Whatever I stop, whatever my last thought is, if I tie it in a bow, if I don't, I said everything I needed to say. And I can post it, I can move on, and then I can start a new one. I don't have to sit and question, oh, you should have said this. I don't have to write myself a script. I don't have to plan anything. I can just be Lauren. I can just be stream of consciousness, straight up vibing as Lauren. I am feeling like I should wrap this up in a little bit because I don't know how long I've been talking. Not that it really matters. I know my 5 loyal subscribers are dedicated to listening to every last bit of this. But I do have a few thoughts I'd like to say as the rain gets louder and louder. It might start to drown me out. The first is, I was sitting and I was thinking about the ums and the likes, which I guess is what got me on the topic of Valley Girl and then to the Riot Girl movement, is the, oh my god, and yeah. But I've also noticed my mind have these moments where when I'm speaking slowly and intentionally, even though that's beautiful, and I have those pauses and I don't fill them immediately. I don't jump, I don't rush to say something just to say it, or I don't fill it with those ums. I find myself uncomfortable. I find myself worried that I'm boring you. Not that anybody is, I'm not holding a gun to anybody's head and making them listen to this, other than my 5 loyal subscribers, because you promised. But I don't know, I feel like I owe you something. And I don't. And I was sitting and I was thinking about those moments of silence. And then I thought about Papa Rupee. And if you don't know who I'm talking about Rupert Spira. He's a non-duality teacher, and I'm in a couple discords, talking about these subjects, and we talk about Rupert Spira a lot. He's an author. He wrote many books, including You Are the Happiness You Seek, which is a wonderful book that you should read, and we can talk about more another day. But I was watching a video of him recently, and a little boy asked him a question. And it was like, it was a panel. It was a question and answer panel. And when he asked him the question, Rupert paused for what felt like eternity, but was probably like a minute and 30 seconds. And it was so uncomfortable. Every comment on YouTube was like, oh my God, that pause. Oh my God, the pause. But it was so profound and it was so beautiful because the little boy didn't rush in to clarify, like, if that makes sense, or maybe that was a dumb question, or let me explain further. And Rupert didn't jump in to say, give me a moment to think about this, or he just sat there quietly, and the boy sat there quietly for a minute and 30 seconds while Rupert collected his thoughts. And then he gave a thorough answer that he had thoroughly thought about. And like, there's so much power in that. And we've been jokingly, lovingly calling that the Rupert pause. And so as I was having this conversation and I was noticing those moments of pause, and my ego immediately jumped into, you're failing, you're fucking this up, like, you gotta edit that out. I thought about Rupert and the Rupert pause and how nothing needs to be fixed. Nothing needs to be edited. There's no urgency. There's no rush. Where are we running off to? There's nowhere to go. There's only here. There's only now. And here and now are enough. Here and now are enough. If you can hear the rain, the cars outside, the sirens, the birds, the dishwasher, the moments that I've had feedback, or my microphone has clipped, or my chair that I keep moving in has inevitably made creaky sounds. All of that is enough. And none of that is too much. It just is. And that brings me back to the Lena Dunham show, Too Much. There's this scene, she's been weaponized, the term too much has been weaponized against her whole life. And the actress Meg Stalter, who also in her life has that narrative, has had that journey of the too muchness herself. She's acting in this Lena Dunham show, and a man that she loves calls her too much. And her heart sinks. And the familiar stories start to rise to the surface of, no, I'm not too much, I'm not. And then he says, no. Like, you're too much. Like, you're too much. Like, you're not too little. You're just enough and a little extra. What a healing sentiment. You're not too much in a bad way. You're too much, like, you're just enough and a little extra something special. Wow. And I think that aligns to a lot of the subjects I want to talk about in this podcast, about perception, because all of life is perception. Life is inherently meaningless other than the meaning we subscribe it. And what's beautiful about that is if nothing matters, then that also means everything matters. It's two sides to the same coin. And there might be two sides, but it's one coin. It's one picture. Anyway, I feel like that'd be a really beautiful place to tie the bow and to leave you. I do want to say one additional thought, and that is, I don't know what to call this. Initially, like, the most obvious title is Stream of Consciousness, because that's what I'm doing. I'm having a stream of consciousness conversation with you. And actually, I do want to talk about that more in episode 2, which I guess I'm committing to a second episode, about stream of consciousness and my thoughts on that. But for now, I was thinking about calling it stream of consciousness because that feels right. Because I'm sitting here with my eyes closed and I'm just talking. And I am not filtering. I don't want to say I haven't filtered at all, because like I said, I've had those thoughts arise in awareness. Those thoughts of, okay, you should pause this, you should stop this, you should fix this, you should edit this out after. Although I'm not. But maybe I unintentionally listened to those thoughts a few times during this conversation. But for the most part, I'm sitting here with my eyes closed and I'm just letting the words come out of my mouth. Ooh, that was some good thunder. I don't know if you guys heard it or not. Pretend you did if you didn't. Tell me you did in the comments if you didn't. Appease me, please. We're friends. Tell me what I want to hear. But yeah, so like I'm speaking in stream of consciousness, and then also like one of the big overarching themes I want to have in this space is about consciousness. So the name stream of consciousness just makes the most logical sense, and it's the first thing that just came into my mind. Stream of consciousness, which, funny enough. But also, like, there's like 180 podcasts with the name stream of consciousness. Not that I care, because I'm not competing. I actually don't care. Like, I don't care if I have any subscribers. I'm literally just sitting at my table on a Tuesday rambling before my meditation session. Like, killing time, which is such a funny expression. But the other part of me is like, there's nothing unique about that. So then I thought, like, maybe I could name it Wave of Consciousness. Which goes back to the Zen Buddhist idea, or the David Lynch idea, although David Lynch is a Zen Buddhist, of like, we're all waves of the same ocean. Or we're all like unique conscious waves of the same, infinite consciousness. So I'm like, waves of consciousness could be cool. Plus I'm flowing like a wave with this. I'm vibing. I'm allowing the words to come out of my mouth. I also thought about, because, before I recorded this, I was talking to my Discord group, and they've been egging me on about starting a podcast. And I said, okay, well, if I can get 2 people to listen to it all the way through, then I'll record episode 1. And if I can get 2 more people after that, I'll record episode 2. Because I don't want to just sit around and talk to myself. I do enough of that. So then I was like, oh, maybe talking to myself is a good title. 1, because I'm literally sitting here talking to myself. Like, there's nobody here, so like I'm having a conversation with me. 2, because I feel like I'm talking to myself, because will those 5 loyal subscribers stay on for episode 2? We'll have to see. But 3, when we go back to my non-dual ideas, my idea of oneness and separation being an illusion, you are me, and I am you, and the language, the words are me. The microphone, the computer, it's all me. So I'm really just God talking to himself. I'm just God in drag talking to itself. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Stream of consciousness, wave of consciousness, talking to myself. Or let me know if you have like another idea for a title. I don't know what I'm going to label this. I'm hopefully that this all was recorded and it's all legible, and then I'll just post it as is on maybe YouTube. I guess we'll see. That's for future me to decide. And when I say future me, I mean 10 minutes from now me. But the now me, the one who's here right now, has nowhere to go. Has nowhere to be other than right here. So I'm going to sit here for another moment with you and take in this moment. Get some good breaths in. It's been really lovely to sit here and talk with you on this morning. Again, assuming it's morning for you. Or evening. Feels like the Truman Show. Like, what does he say? Good evening, good morning, good evening, and good night. If I don't see you again, good morning, good evening, and good night. But like, I almost could get emotional because there's a part of me that wants to run to the next task or wants to immediately like see if this all recorded. But then there's this other part of me that knows that I'll never have this moment again. And how beautiful it is. And how perfect it is. Just me, just Lauren. and a microphone, and the rain, and the dishwasher, and the 5 loyal subscribers on the other end, and the thunder, and the beautiful low lighting at my messy desk, filled with all these little objects that all add up to me and all add up to my life and all add up to this moment. All moments leading me here. All the people who have told me I should start a podcast leading me here. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere I need to be. There's no there. There's just here. And that's enough. It's not too much. Not too much in a bad way, that's for sure. Just enough and a little more. As a treat. Anyway. Have a nice day. Bye.